PawazyPuppy, and welcome to Introdecktions number 1, a Pokesino Club bonus episode. Today I'm going to be walking you through one of my many Pokemon TCG decks to show you the cards in it and the strategies I use. Today's deck is Murky Waters. This is my main Pokemon TCG deck, and this is what I use in most of my battles. This is also what I will be using in this year's annual Pokesino Club tournament. A little background on this deck: it is a very heavily edited Darkness Ablaze Galarian Darmanitan theme deck. I got this the first time my family went camping with K-Dog. We had done it before, but this was the first time K-Dog's family had come on the trip also. If you want to hear more about the story on how K-Dog and I got our Pokemon decks and how we really got into Pokemon, you can listen back a few episodes. I don't recall which episode it is off the top of my head, but I will put it in the description if you want to go listen to that. Long story short, I got a Darkness Ablaze Galarian Darmanitan theme deck. It was okay, and it had really good combos in it. Really, the only cards I've kept in it are the Wingull and Pelipper line, 2 Suicune, and the Galarian Darmanitan line, with both Galarian Darmanitan and Galarian Darmanitan Zen mode. I have added a Galarian Darmanitan V, which I bought as a single card at a thrift store, because you know I love my thrift stores and I love getting Pokemon at them. That Galarian Darmanitan V is from Vivid Voltage. Other exciting ultra rares include Trainer's Toolkit promo Crobat V, Boundaries Crossed Keldeo EX, Burning Shadows Darkrai GX, and Crimson Invasion Gyarados GX. I'll start listing off the cards here. 2 Slowpoke, and 1 Breakpoint Slowking, with its ability Royal Flash. Once during your turn before your attack, you may flip a coin. If heads, move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of his or her benched Pokemon. Really good if your opponent has a big, hard-hitting Pokemon out, and removing that one energy would make them not be able to use that attack. And that way you can get some extra hits in. Now, I haven't used its attack is Psych Up for 1 water energy and 1 of any energy for 40 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon's Psych Up attack does 40 more damage. Now, I haven't played with a card like this in the TCGO, where all the rules are automatic, but I do not know, and am starting to doubt, if that means that every turn you use it, it adds 40 the next turn. I do think that's a little overpowered, and if it only stacks up to 80 and doesn't infinitely stack, then it's kind of losing the main purpose for it to be in my deck, because right now it is purely in my deck just because it can hit so much. And if after 4 turns you're doing 160 damage with a 100 HP Pokemon, and that 160 damage only takes 2 energy. I have a Rebel Clash Magikarp, which is meant to evolve into the Gyarados GX, and the Gyarados' attacks are Waterfall for 70 and Draconic Disaster for 100 plus. If there's any Stadium card in play, this attack does 100 more damage, then discard that Stadium card. And its GX attack is Dreadstorm GX. Discard an energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon, and that takes 1 water energy. There are 2 Eevee, and 1 Vaporeon and 1 Umbreon. The Vaporeon is from Cosmic Eclipse and has the ability Vitality Cheer. Your Pokemon GX in play that evolve from Eevee get plus 60 HP, which is kind of useless as of right now because I do not have any Pokemon GX that evolve from Eevee in the deck currently. I plan to get some in the deck soon. There is also a Plasma Freeze Umbreon with the ability Dark Shade. Each of your Team Plasma Pokemon in play gets plus 20 HP. Then it has the attack Darkness Fang for 70, and that takes 1 dark energy and 2 of any energy. Wingull and Pelipper line, both from Rebel Clash. Wingull's main attack that I use is Collect, which is for 1 of any energy, draw a card. And then Pelipper can do Wing Attack for 50, takes 2 of any energy, and Power Cyclone for 110. Move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. Great to use on your last turn with the Pokemon. Like, if you know for certain that Pelipper is going to get knocked out next turn, I use Power Cyclone, because then I can just transfer an energy to one of my Pokemon, which will use it more. I have 2 Carvanha that evolve into a Sun and Moon Sharpedo. It has the ability Rough Skin. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and is damaged by an opponent's attack, even if it's knocked out, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. And it also has, for 1 Dark Energy and 2 of any energy, Aqua Impact for 60+. This attack does 20 more damage for each star in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. If your opponent has one of those GXs or something that has a big retreat cost, I think the maximum is 4. You could do 140 damage depending on the Pokemon. I have 2 Snorunt, one with Powder Snow for 1 energy, 1 water energy. The defending Pokemon is now asleep, which evolve into 2 Glalie. One is a Team Plasma Glalie from Plasma Blast. Powder Snow for 1 water and 1 of any. 30 damage, the defending Pokemon is now asleep. Reflect Energy for 1 water and 2 of any. 60 damage, move a water-type energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. And that opponent is now asleep attack reminds me of something. One of the Slowpoke that I mentioned before has the Big Yawn attack for 1 of any energy. Both this Pokemon and the defending Pokemon are now asleep, and I use this to get a bunch of better cards in my hand when I was battling one of the club members. I just kept using Big Yawn over and over, and it would put his Pokemon to sleep, and I just got better cards in my hand, and he couldn't do anything with his Pokemon. I had a 70 HP Pokemon out for like 8 turns. The other Glalie, 2 water energy, crunch for 40 damage. Flip a coin if heads, discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. For 3 water, raging flow, 70+. If this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 80 more damage, so 150 damage maximum on that guy. Decent for only 3 energy and a 120 HP stage 1. The Galarian Darmanitan evolves into either the Galarian Darmanitan or the Galarian Darmanitan Zen mode. I'll start with the normal one. Blizzard for 1 water and 2 of any. 80 damage. This attack also does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Bench damage is always good because that means that no matter what, the next Pokemon they put, especially if it does damage to all of the bench Pokemon, that means no matter what, unless they find a way to get a new Pokemon on their bench, whatever Pokemon they bring out after this is going to have a little bit of damage on it. Then, Crushing Headbutt for 2 water and 2 of any, 170. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Crushing Headbutt. At least it's not, during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack, because you can still use Blizzard the next turn. And so, if your your opponent's Pokemon has 150 HP or less, you're looking at, as long as it's fully charged, an easy 2-turn knockout for a lot of Pokemon with this guy. And the Zen mode for 1 of any energy has Headbutt for 40 damage. And for 2 water energy and 1 of any, Frozen Heat for 110. Plus, you may discard all water energy from this Pokemon. If you do, this attack does 60 more damage. Crobat V has the ability Dark Asset. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. You can't use more than 1 Dark Asset ability each turn. Really good if you're low on cards and you need to get some in your hand in case you have any good combos that you could do. Like, I'm so close to having this combo ready. I need 1 more. There's a chance for you to draw that if you play this guy. The only downside is potential stupidity, and that is mostly done by me. I cannot tell you how many times I've been in a Pokemon battle online, and I have, 3 cards I could play, and one of them is Crobat V, and I play it without playing the other 2 cards, and that's just, cards that I didn't get to draw. It also has, for 1 Dark Energy and 1 of any, Venomous Fang for 70. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. The poison damage from this guy really takes a toll on a Pokemon. Then I have 2 Suicune. They have the attack 1 water energy, Wave Splash for 20 and 2 water energy and 1 of any. Aurora Loop for 130. Put 2 water type energy attached to this Pokemon into your hand. There is Darkrai GX, which I call my invincible Darkrai GX. It has 180 HP and has the ability Restoration. Once during your turn, before your attack, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it onto your bench. Then attach a Dark-type energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Basically, if this guy is ever knocked out, the next turn, as long as you got an open space on your bench, you can bring him right back out and put a Dark Energy from your discard on him. His attack is 2 Dark Energy and 1 of any. Dark Cleave for 130. This attack's damage isn't affected by resistance. Then Dead End GX for the same energy. If your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, that Pokemon is knocked out. Works great in combo with Crobat V. If the Pokemon is poisoned, but it's still got, 200 HP left, I could just swipe out my Darkrai GX, instant KO. The Galarian Darmanitan V has Freezing Headbutt for 1 water and 1 of any. 50 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Frozen Slice for 2 water energy and 1 of any. 190. This Pokemon also does 30 damage to itself. The paralyzation on this Pokemon is really good, just like the Big Yawn on the Slowpoke, for just delaying your opponent to do anything to you so you can get more useful cards in your hand. I can't tell you how many times I've used this on my brother, and that is why he hates this Galarian Darmanitan V, because when he sees it come out, he knows he's probably not going to be attacking for a little bit. And then the last Pokemon is Keldeo EX, with the ability Rush In. Once during your turn before your attack, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. So you don't need to retreat your Pokemon if you want to bring Keldeo EX out. Its attack for 3 of any energy. Secret Sword for 50 damage. Does 20 more damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. If you can spend enough turns attaching energy to this guy, especially if he's on your bench and you use something like a bead to attach a basic energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, or one of your bench Pokemon, it is really good because this can just stack as much energy as you can fit on this Pokemon. That is how much damage it can do. Moving on to the trainers. Shadow Triad, put a Team Plasma card from your discard pile in your hand. Lucian's Assignment, move as many energy cards attached to one of your Pokemon as you like to another one of your Pokemon. Great if like I said with the Pelipper, the Pokemon's going to get knocked out this turn, but you don't want to have to discard all the energy, just switch it to another Pokemon that you'll bring out the next turn and crush your opponent. Bird Keeper. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. If you do, draw 3 cards. Bead. Attach a basic energy from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon. Sonia. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon or up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them and put them in your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Team Skull Grunt. Your opponent reveals their hand. Discard 2 energy cards from it. Good if they are going to charge up their Pokemon to do the deadly attack that they've been waiting for the next turn. You could just prevent that and hope that they don't draw the right energy the next turn. Professor Kukui. Draw 2 cards. During this turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. That's good because it gets you a little cards in your hand. It gets you some more cards in your hand, and gives you the extra boost of damage this turn. Too many times has it happened to me that I have been 10, 20 damage short of knocking out a Pokemon in one hit. And it's so annoying because the next turn, if it's like some big V, they might knock me out in that one turn that I could have knocked them out the next. Pokemon Center Lady. Heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. This is in not only because it heals a lot, but because I'm going to need it for the tournament, because I know at least 2 other people in the tournament this year will have, most likely, a Crobat V in their deck. I know they all have Crobat Vs in their decks, but I don't know if they're going to be using them in the tournament, but I could easily clear the poison and remove most of the damage from one hit from a Crobat V. Energy Retrieval. Put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. Also good if that Darkrai GX is knocked out, because once he's knocked out, you could just put him back onto your bench with another dark energy, and then you take the other 2 energy that was attached to him, assuming he was fully charged, using energy retrieval. He's back and fully charged as long as you can attach the energy those next turns, which you could also use bead for. Ordinary Rod. Choose one or both. Shuffle up to 2 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. Shuffle up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. Capacious Bucket. Search your deck for up to 2 water-type energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. This is good because I have a special water-type energy card. It is the Splash Energy. You can hear about that in a minute. And you can get that with the Capacious Bucket. Team Plasma Ball. Search your deck for a Team Plasma Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterward. Switch. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Rough Seas. Once during each player's turn, that player may heal 30 damage from each of his or her Water-type Pokemon and Electric-type Pokemon. That is great for me because I can heal 30 damage every turn from each of my Water-type Pokemon. But the downsides are, 1, I cannot heal that damage from my Dark-type Pokemon. And 2, if my opponent has any Water or Electric-type Pokemon, they can also heal, because it's a stadium and it affects both of us. And the final trainer, Reversal Trigger. When the Team Plasma Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterward. Moving on to the energy, which there is not much of. There are 2 Rainbow Energy. It serves as any type of energy you want, but only one at a time. And when you attach it to the Pokemon, you put 10 damage on it. And then Splash Energy. This can only be attached to Water-type Pokemon. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, put that Pokemon into your hand. Discard all cards attached to it. If my Pokemon is knocked out, while this is attached, I could just put it straight back in my hand. As long as I have the energy to charge it back up, along with, again, a helpful bead, I can just get it back up and running one more time. Counter Energy. This card provides normal energy. If you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, and if this card is attached to a Pokemon that isn't a GX or EX, this card provides every type of energy, but only 2 at a time. So it's a normal energy, unless you have more prize cards than your opponent, then it's a double Rainbow Energy. Hiding Energy. The Dark-type Pokemon this card is attached to has no retreat cost. Then there's 5 Dark Energy and 6 Water-type Energy. So that is Murky Waters. I hope you enjoyed listening. Sorry that we didn't have a normal episode this week, but we will be hopefully back on schedule next week. If you want to hear more of this, maybe an introduction from K-Dog or one of our guests, email the show at podcast@pokecino.club. I am PawazyPuppy. You can find me at youtube.com/PawazyPuppy and at PawazyPuppy Cards on TCG Player. That is my online card shop where I sell Pokemon cards. We don't have any sales yet. You could be the first. Anyways, that's all. May Pokecino be with you.